I'm going again.
His biggest strength is his greatest weakness. He's always climbing.
Today, I want to go over some of my favorite techniques that I use to help me climb a little bit better on the boards. Because when it comes to board climbing, due to the more or less steep nature of it, the way I go about climbing on this is a little bit different compared to my commercial climbing technical stuff. And I hope by sharing this, you too will be able to approach the board with more of a technical approach and less of a, wow, I'm not strong enough type of approach. Without any further ado, let's hop into the techniques that I find quite useful. The first technique that I use, and it's more or less kind of exclusive to board climbing, and I always found this really cool, is just a very simple one-legged drop knee. Now, as we all know, a drop knee is basically when we take two legs and we turn one knee inside, therefore to activate a drop knee. But when I'm on the board, sometimes the footholds are limited, and even if there are two footholds available, I'll typically find myself attaching one foot on and simply turning off with just one leg in order to reach the next hold. Now, the reason why I find this so important is because sometimes in these climbing up situations, right? Let's say I have these two, and then I have this singular drop knee, and I need to reach freaking anywhere for this example, right? Instead of staying straight on like this and forcing myself to pull like that, I'll simply start in my position, I'll drop knee it, and then I could simply reach. The reason why this is so prevalent on the board is, again, because of the severe angly overhang of the board. Because it's so severe, it makes it even harder to find being straight on as a reliable option to consistently use. Therefore, by constantly turning the leg in a one-legged fashion, it's a lot easier. And because it's one-legged, my bad, the reason why it's constantly one-legged is just because a lot of times the footholds you have available to you will be limited to one. So when you're climbing and you're like, hey, I'm in this straightforward action and it's hard to reach the next hole, just try adding a little bit of that one-legged drop knee action. Hopefully that will get you up there. One big, most common problem when first climbing on boards is you're gonna find that your feet tends to slip a lot. Now, I find because all these footholds, they'll typically have some form of positivity. And if this is my shoe, I'll try to jam my feet directly into that positivity to kind of cam it between this and this. Therefore, I'm stuck inside the ridge as opposed to just staying outside on the edge. This inside insertion of the foot will make it a lot better in terms of the register. So instead of keeping it out like this, I'm trying to cam it in like that, and I'm going to get the friction between this and the wall to help keep it in. Of course, this is also true when it comes to these bigger footholds up here. When it comes to these bigger footholds, even though the shallowness of the indentation, one would say, isn't as severe or positive, I still apply the same effects. I won't just leave my foot hanging right here where it's nice and flat. I'll try to dig it in as much as I can in order to acquire the best amount of register using the wall and the foothold as well. Lastly, when it comes to these horrible slopedations where there's actually no good concrete level of edging, there's two ways I like to go about it. The first way is in a smear fashion, which I'll go into in a little bit. And then the second way is kind of like directly onto these sharp little corners. Because these sharp little corners have a little bit of an edge into them, and rubber has this thing called pliableness, if you press hard enough into the corners will actually leave a little, here, let me show you. Can you see those slight little indentations right there? Can they see it? Yep, excellent. So, because the rubber will be able to get compressed or evolve or, melt into the hole, that'll increase the register upon the shoe. Therefore, I focus on these sharp points. But when I do go about smearing on the more slopish type of footholds, there's gonna be two ways I go about it. The first way is gonna be from a low perspective, and the second way is gonna be from a high perspective. When I go from a high perspective, I'm gonna try to stay my body nice and tall, and I'm pressing directly into the wall like that. I'm not pressing down, I'm pressing into the wall. In this way, I'm above the horrible sloper hole. The other method I like to go is from a very low down position. From a low down position, I'm relaxing most of the weight onto my arms, and I'm almost just pushing myself straight back from the wall. I won't ever, though, try to mix it and go from this like halfway positioning where not only is it hard to hold in my hands, but the foot register is a little bit weird because now I'm not above the hold and now I'm not necessarily below the hold. Those are my tips for foot holds on, boards. Hopefully it helps. And of course, all those foot tips apply for like these little small nubbin holds as well. Everything is more or less the exact same, regardless of the size. The next move I like to use, it's not an always thing, but when I do get a chance, it's super cool. And it is just the one arm pogo swing. For it to be done well, you basically just need one arm on a decently good hold. Let me establish my feet. And then with the other arm, you're gonna generate momentum and then toss it up to grab the next hold. The particular good reason why this works is for two reasons. The first reason is once you release the offhand, your body now finds a natural state of balance beneath the one arm. By tossing your arm down and then pushing it up, you could try this while standing. It literally helps generate momentum to bring your body higher. Reason why this works on more of an overhang is because you have so much real estate to go ahead and spin that arm however which way you like. And this throw isn't only, say, exclusive to tossing it to outside of your body, it's also very useful for tossing it inside of your body as well. So when you're in a position and you're holding two holds and you're like, I don't think I can get to the next one. Next one's kind of hard. Try releasing one hand, find your center of balance, and then hit that hayunk to get to the next hold. I do must submission that when you go about this tossing arm motion, there's two ways to go about it. The first way is kind of like this swinging action where you swing the arm. The other way is a punching action where you punch for the hold. Depending on the situation, one or the other will be a little bit more beneficial. Try it. Board climbing is often looked at as a physical type of climbing, which it totally is, but it should also be stated that when it comes to physical type of climbing, there are certain techniques that are a little bit more prevalent. For example, the ability to utilize both arms at once. Normally when we're climbing, let's say we start on this hold and we're going for this hold. Pretty close, but whatever. The common consensus would be something like this. I'm gonna pull with my right hand and I'm gonna lash with my left. You're not wrong, but a better technical execution, this one would say, that requires less strength, but it's more technical, is I'm gonna pull with both arms and then I'm gonna lash with the left while still pulling with the right arm. Let me just show you how much I can overshoot this when I go ahead and pull with two arms versus one. So if I pull with one arm, right, as hard as I can, that's about how far I could get, which is about elbow length. But if I go ahead and use two arms, I was basically able to lick it, talk to it, and have a discussion with it while I was right there with my face in front of it. Meaning, you must pull with two arms to get to the next hold. You're gonna be able to exert a lot more power. This only isn't exclusive for holds that are right next to each other. This is universally true no matter the distance of holds, even if you're offset. So even from a position like this, you want to pull with both arms at all times. Remember, pull with both arms because two is obviously better than one. Because board climbing is so filled with awesome cut loose moves that are wild and insane, there's a certain particular skill that's quite useful in order to help control that momentum. And that usefulness looks like this. It's just basically arching your lower back. Let me give you an example. Give me a jog. Okay. I'm tired, so forgive me. You see, when you go ahead and you arch your back, what that basically does, right? It's better if I show you what happens on the ground. You see, when I arch my back, that's gotta make my hands wanna press down into the earth. When my hands press down into the earth, they basically press down onto the holds a lot harder than if I was to say, have my body in this rounded position. Because of the way the momentum works when my back arches, that just makes me want to press harder. So when you're swinging and you're like, hey, I feel like I'm gonna let go, you want to go ahead and try to arch that lower back. If it's a bit excessive, that's okay, so long as you're able to hold on. However, I must warn you, there's a bit of a nasty side that comes with it. Because if you arch your back and you're not able to hold on, the likelihood that you fall down and land on your face is very prevalent, one would say. And the last tip I would like to impart to you guys, it's not just exclusive for finish holes, but it is most seen on finish holes. And that is, if this is the finish hole, because I'm too lazy to climb to the top, before you go ahead and match the hold, you always want to you always want to shift your hips beneath the hold, match it in a state of no momentum. That way the match is always controlled, as opposed to say, trying to match it from all the way over here to where you have all that momentum swinging. It's not necessarily good. And by practicing this hip switching directly beneath the hole, it just helps build good body awareness. Though, if you're strong, you have this special ability called, I'm just gonna lock it off, cut off my feet, and then match it. It's very cool. A lot of strong board climbers do it. I can't do it that often, but hey, it is a very good technique. Shift your hips when you finish.
Hey, thanks for watching. And if you enjoy videos like this and want to become a better climber, I more or less drop videos like this every single day. If you like, comment, subscribe, it does help me help you become a better climber. And now you know.